and talk about your teeth. How are your teeth this morning? Yeah, if you're young in Cornwall and hoping to get braces for your teeth, you could be in for a rather long wait. Naomi's had a few comments from families in Cornwall about this, haven't you?
Yeah, I just put it out there because we heard that there was quite a wait, and I wanted to know really how long it was. One parent said to me, before the virus, we were told to contact them in August if we hadn't heard from them. Now we've been told just to wait, as for obvious reasons, everything is massively delayed. Another person said, we were due to have a third appointment in May, then it was delayed. More recently, we've had a letter to say they're overwhelmed and very delayed, and it may not even be a new thing, actually, because one mum told me a few years back we had to wait 2 years or pay for private treatment. Now we're having to wait again for my other twin. It's crazy.
And of course, the longer you wait, that window of opportunity, you get older as well, and having perhaps to wear the braces or whatever like that, it might be a more difficult thing for you to adapt to socially as well. Well, NHS orthodontists have told some patients new cases won't be looked at for some time, even if they're already on a waiting list. Dentists say they're working on those who currently have braces and trying to clear the backlog created by the pandemic. Let's speak now to dentist Jeremy Peake, who practices in Cornwall. Jeremy, morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, James. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, thank you very much. Are you taking on new cases of people who need braces or not?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of the problems we are experiencing were there pre-COVID. Every practice is different. There's no national guidelines about what we should be doing, but I would hope that most orthodontic practices now are seeing a significant number of new patients because there's not really any reason not to. Our productivity is a lot less. We have to ensure our staff and our patients' safety is absolutely paramount. So we have to work at a slower pace to ensure that, for instance, in our practice, we have every single patient individually met at the front door, are escorted through the practice to make sure that no two patients meet each other. And we have extra staff employed to do a lot of checks before and during treatment. But, actually, in terms of the clinical work, there's no reason why we shouldn't be seeing still a significant number of patients. So certainly our waiting list isn't on hold. The COVID made what was a bad situation worse. We were shut down nationally for about 10, 11 weeks back in the spring. And then once we reopened, our priority was looking after those patients already under treatment, and I'm sure everybody will understand that. Although even during lockdown, we'd managed to work remotely and make a surprising amount of progress for a lot of patients through things like WhatsApp and video conferencing.
Early intervention is obviously the key with most dental issues, but particularly if you're trying to correct issues with youngsters as well. So any delay for others is going to be so problematic, isn't it, for them to get to grips with?
Yeah, I think that there are two factors, really. In terms of actual dental health, a delay isn't, in most cases, too desperate. We've got a huge window of opportunity of straightened teeth. In fact, in my own practice, quite a lot of our patients are adults, although adult orthodontics isn't funded by the NHS. The problem comes more in terms of emotional health, because clearly the longer the delay, the more distress it's caused. We do try and prioritise what funding we have for those patients who are most urgent on a dental health basis. I think it's important to understand how NHS orthodontics actually works. We are given a set number of patients a year that we are allowed to start, and once that number is used up, at the end of the financial year, we're not able to start any new cases until the next financial year. And I do know the NHS were looking at that because this situation was made very unbalanced after an exercise in 2019 to try and recontract with dentists as to where spending occurred, but it did result in some practices in Cornwall having no waiting list and others like ours having nearly 2 years. So I know the NHS have been looking at that. That was all put on hold because of COVID, but they are looking at it again now. And I would hope one of the things they will look at is what waiting lists were like pre-COVID and ensure that all practices were actually starting patients once, as I said, we got through the acute phase and we looked after our patients already in treatment. Because, as I said, since probably around about August time, once we started to become confident we wouldn't be locked down again, because clearly you don't want to start a lot of new patients if you're then not able to look after them. But once it was clear that we wouldn't be locked down, certainly there should be a significant number of patients still coming through. there are hold-ups because patients aren't being referred from their general dentists who have been hit even harder than us. And also, sometimes patients need help from their general dentist before we can put braces on. And again, there are some delays there. So certainly no practice is going to be at full productivity. But, we are still trying to work hard and get a lot of patients through.
Well,
in our own practice, our limitation is largely funding, as it was pre-COVID. Sadly.
Yeah, regardless of the virus, that was still at play, wasn't it? Jeremy, great to talk to you this morning. Thank you very much for shedding a bit more light on that subject as well. A spokesperson for the NHS, actually, on this subject has told us that during the second wave of coronavirus, NHS dental practices, including specialist orthodontic practices, are open for business. They're understandably prioritising urgent care alongside recalling patients to complete outstanding dental care. If a patient is worried about their teeth or oral health or that of their child, then they should call their dentist, who can see them if it's urgent. My dentist, I haven't had a checkup. It's just doing still emergency work. I did ring them, actually, recently and sort of said, I'm an NHS patient, everything stood all right. Yeah, that was all fine. And they were saying that basically they had a complement of 5 dentists, but because of how they work, they could only ever have 2 on at any time. So you think of the backlog there, and I'm sure that's akin to others too as well who are in that situation. But good to talk to Jeremy this morning here on BBC Radio Cornwall Breakfast.